Welcome back. All right, so this is a video that I had hoped I wouldn't be making this season. The Buffalo Sabres, they got off to this great 7-3 start. Everything looked good. I'm going to say this. I think that this is just something they're going to go through this year. I do think things are better now than the last time they had a collapse like this. But I understand why Buffalo fans are frustrated with it. So their last win was a 6-3 win over the Pittsburgh Penguins. They were leading 2-1 after one. It was tied 3-3 after two, and then they got the next three goals. The sixth one being an empty netter. Your three stars in that one were Thompson, Tuck, and Power. So everything was going well for Buffalo. 7-3 start to the season. What could possibly go wrong? And then, they did Buffalo things. And it's interesting, too, because Buffalo and Vancouver come into the league together. And right now, both teams would be considered kind of disappointing. The interesting thing is, coming into this season, Buffalo was not expected to be a playoff team. Buffalo wasn't expected to be a lot better than last year. They were expected to be somewhat better than last year. And, there was definitely some excitement because they had ended the season on a very good run. And they looked for real, right? And so getting off to that 7-3 start definitely added fuel to that fire of, hey, this was a good team to finish the season last year. They're a good team now. I'm going to go on a limb and say I think they're still a good team. I think they're still finding themselves. I think there's still improvements to be made. And I think this is kind of how it was built to be, although this has been rough to watch. First off, if you look at the quality of the opponents, there are some quality opponents on this board. You've got Toronto, Boston, Carolina, Tampa, and Vegas are five teams that are either in or contending for playoff spots. Pretty good teams. Arizona, if you don't outwork Arizona, they'll beat you. Ottawa and Vancouver are both in the same situation as Buffalo. They were expected to be better. It's been disappointing starts for them. So we'll start with the game against Carolina. They led in that game both 1-0 and 2-1, right? So this is the road trip that really starts it. The shots were 33-25 for Carolina. The Buffalo Sabres went 1 for 5 on the power play. They were 3 for 4 on the penalty kill. Craig Anderson, 28 saves on 32 shots for an .875 save percentage. Pilot and Fitzgerald had rough nights. They were both -3. Dahlin played 26 minutes and 58 seconds. And I wanted to track Dahlin's ice time in this as well, just because I thought it was interesting. Just one of those things. Dahlin did not play the game. They lost the next day against Tampa Bay. And again, this is on the road, right? So they led 3-2. They ended up losing it 5-3. The shots were 30-24 for Tampa. Their power play goes 1 for 3. Their penalty kill 1 for 2. Comrie played that game. 25 saves on 29 shots. .862 save percentage. Bryson was a -3 in that game. So they led. They led in both the game in Carolina and in Tampa Bay. They lost both games. Carolina, one of the better teams in the league. Tampa Bay, a team that's been to 3 straight Stanley Cup finals and 1 back-to-back Stanley Cups. So coming out of those games, there was no reason to look and say, well, clearly it's all fallen off the tracks for Buffalo, right? So the next game was against Arizona, and it was tied 1-1. The shots, 33-24 in favor of Buffalo in the game, but they lost it 4-1. Power plays, they were 1 for 4. Their penalty kill 2 for 3. So they allow a power play goal in each game, but they score a power play goal in each game as well. Cousins, Power, Dahlin, Thompson, all of them a -2 in that game. Dahlin played 27 minutes and 37 seconds in that game. So after not playing the previous game, he still played a ton in the next one. So then Vegas, right? In Vegas, it was tied 1-1. It was tied 2-2. They ended up losing that one 7-4. The shots were 36-35 for Vegas. So what's interesting, too, is that they don't really get outplayed really badly in any of these first 4 games. Their power play was actually 2 for 3. Their penalty kill was 1 for 2. Comrie, 29 saves on 35 shots for an .829 save percentage. Clegg had a -4 in that game, so that's a rough night for him. Dahlin, 26 minutes and 43 seconds of ice time in that game. So again, you can look at this and say, well, 3 out of those first 4 losses are against pretty good teams. Next up was Boston. The Boston Bruins, who just do not lose games right now, they've won 6 in a row. They led 1-0 against Boston. And I really thought, Buffalo has been pretty badly struck by a tough schedule. maybe they eke out a win over Boston. However, they lost that one 3-1. The shots in this one were close too, 31-30 for Buffalo. Power plays, Buffalo does not score on the power play, so that's the first time in the losing streak they haven't scored on the power play. They allow 1 power play goal on 3 power plays for the Bruins. Anderson, 27 saves on 30 shots, so a 900 save percentage there. It is the only 900 save percentage until you get to this game here, and it is part of the story. So whether you want to say, well, the goaltending's been a problem or the defense has been a problem, I'm going to go ahead and say it's been a combination of both. Goaltenders could be better. The defense in front of them could be better as well. Bryson was a -2 in that game. Dahlin, 28 minutes and 8 seconds. So playing a ton of ice time for Dahlin. That's the most he had played during this losing streak. His ice time goes up again, though, when they played against Vancouver. They never led or tied that game. They lost it 5-4. They made it close, and I really thought, this is an interesting one because the Canucks have been losing leads all year. So the fact that Vancouver had a big lead to start, it didn't inspire confidence in this Canuck fan. The shots were 32-32. Power plays, the Buffalo Sabres went 0 for 3, and they did not kill the penalties very well. Yeah, on 3 opportunities, Vancouver scored twice. So that's your difference maker in the game right there. Special teams cost them. Anderson saved 27 out of 32 for an .844 save percentage. That didn't help either. Power was a +3 in that game. So Owen Power had a good game. Dahlin, 28 minutes and 39 seconds of ice time. Again, the most that he has played during this losing streak. But Owen Power's been a good story. And I think it's easy to lose sight of the good stories for Buffalo so far when they're in the midst of this losing streak. So against Ottawa, that game was tied 1-1. They end up losing it 4-1. The shots are 40-30 for Ottawa in that game. So that's one of the rare occasions where they're outshot by 10 shots. They outshot Arizona by 9 in that one. Yeah, I can't see. There's nothing else where they got outshot by 10 or more. So Ottawa worked really hard because Ottawa's had a rough start too. The power play for Buffalo went 1 for 8. Their penalty kill went 4 for 5, so they only allowed 1 on 5 opportunities. But the fact they only scored once on 8 is a problem. Comrie, 22 saves on 24 shots for a .917 save percentage. He got hurt, courtesy of Dahlin chucking Matthew Joseph into him. Anderson was good in relief, made 14 saves on 15 shots, .933 save percentage in front of fans who once cheered for him. Power, Dahlin, Olofsson, Thompson, Tuck, all of those players of -2 in that game. So Ottawa did their damage with the best of the Buffalo Sabres on the ice in that one. Dahlin, 28 minutes and 22 seconds in ice time. Then last night's game against Toronto, they never led or tied that one. So they lost 5-2. Their shots were in their favor, 34-23. So Matt Murray had a very good game. Their power play went 2 for 6, so they didn't score at all 5 on 5. Their penalty kill was 1 for 3, so they allowed 2 power play goals on 3 opportunities. That's not great. That's the second time in 3 games that that's happened. Luukkonen saved 19 out of 23, .826 save percentage, so he comes up from the AHL, doesn't have the best numbers in his first game for the Sabres this year. Sheahan, Jokiharju, Dahlin, and Asplund all a -2 in last night's game. Dahlin played 26 minutes and 21 seconds. If you look at their last 10 games, Thompson, 9 goals, 7 assists, 16 points. So that's one of the positives, right? Tage Thompson has proven that last year was not a fluke, and that the extension he signed for his contract that kicks in next year, it's justified right now. Right now, it looks like it's a good extension. If anything, it might end up being a bargain. Skinner, 4 goals, 5 assists over that period, has been very good as well. And he hasn't really been the problem. Tuck, 3 goals, 5 assists for him on the season. Cousins, a goal and 6 assists. I think Cousins is coming into his own, but this is a young team, and it's something that you notice when you're looking at your producers. Peterka, a goal and 3 assists for 4 points in their last 10 games. Mittelstadt, 4 goals and an assist for 5 points in his last 10 games. Mittelstadt is finally healthy. He is producing all right, but again, it does feel like this team is lacking something else up front, and whether it's depth scoring, whatever, or just that veteran up front, right? Similar to what, say, a Jordan Staal does for Carolina. Olofsson, 3 goals and an assist for him over these 10 games. Asplund with 2 goals and an assist. Okposo, Not really an offensive leader. He's had injury issues as well. And there have been some key injuries for Buffalo, and they're not a team that has the kind of depth other teams do. So when they have a key injury, whether it's Comrie, whether it's Dahlin missing a game, whatever it is, it's going to affect them more dramatically than it might affect a Colorado or a Carolina, where the depth is really quite key for them. Dahlin with 2 goals and 8 assists over the last 10 games. He's gone without a goal in their last 6. I didn't expect that he would score at a goal a game rate for that long. He did set a record for defensemen from the start of the season, and that's great for him. But again, it feels like everything's kind of come back down to earth with Buffalo. And I think right now they're underperforming what they should be. I think 7-11 is a record that doesn't necessarily tell you how well they've played at points this year. But their schedule would have to get easier because, again, Toronto's playing well, Boston's playing well, Carolina, Tampa, Vegas. Again, Arizona, one of the harder working teams in the league, and then you've got the Vancouver and Ottawa losses there. So for Buffalo, it really is a matter of taking a look at their upcoming schedule. So if you look at their next 5 games, on Tuesday they're at Montreal, so they do have today and tomorrow off to figure things out. Montreal's a team that they should beat. Montreal's a team that they're a lot of fun to watch. They score a bunch of goals, but they also allow a lot defensively. This is a team that with Buffalo, with the way that Thompson's playing, that game could end up being a 9-8 score. Really, honestly, it could be ugly. But it's a game that Buffalo could very well win and end this streak. Then on Wednesday, they come home. They have a 3-game homestand, starting with that Wednesday game against St. Louis, who are very streaky, currently on a 6-game heater. Then they're at home against New Jersey on Friday. And then they miss the weekend, and the following Monday, they are at home against Tampa Bay. So it doesn't get easier. They have Tampa Bay again. But then Wednesday, they go to Detroit. So their next 5 games, I would say of the 5, Montreal and Detroit are winnable games that, with where Buffalo's at, if they can channel the energy they had the first 10 games of the season, they should win those. Tampa Bay, St. Louis, and New Jersey, that's a tougher go of it. So it is a tough part of the schedule for Buffalo. I do expect it to get a little bit easier, but I don't expect them to end up being a playoff team. It's just a shame how it works with Buffalo. They get off to this really good start, and it's like, man, long-suffering fans, and, it's a half-empty building. It'd be great if the winning could continue to start filling up that building, and now the losing has just absolutely cascaded, and that's not going to help attendance numbers either. And I get it. After more than a decade of not seeing playoff hockey, I get people in Buffalo saying, I can't justify paying that amount of money for tickets, and or I'm just tired of watching them lose, so I'm not getting a ticket right now. So I get it, and so we'll see how it goes. But at least the goat head is back, so something. Not that there's a hat that's currently available on the NHL shop with the goat head on it. What's up with that? Other than the blue one, which of course is for the reverse retro, which doesn't match this at all. I clash. Anyways, all kidding aside, I do hope Buffalo gets it together. I feel like Buffalo and Vancouver are intertwined in this mediocrity that they keep finding themselves in, and I really hope at some point in time in my lifetime both teams can be good again. It has happened before where both teams are good at the same time, but it's rare. It is rare. And again, I get it. I get the apathy at this point from a lot of Buffalo fans and the upset because things were supposed to be turning around years ago and didn't. And there seems to be this hope that starts, and then it just gets squashed again. So here's to hoping that that hope actually builds into something soon. So let me know your thoughts in the comments section below, as always. How close is Buffalo to turning this around? There are a lot of good young players that are just coming into the lineup. There are other good young players that haven't come in yet. Let me know how optimistic you are about the future, and what does this team need? Do they need to, say, in this coming off season, look to add somebody? I look at, like, from a Vancouver standpoint, if Horvat doesn't re-sign in Vancouver, Buffalo might be an interesting landing spot just because of what he's able to do. He's excellent on faceoffs. He can play really well. He's a good leader. He's got a lot of experience. And, I mean, I think that would be an interesting pickup. But I'm just using that as an example because he's in the news every 10 seconds, so it's stuck in my brain. But let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.